Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and so are you if you're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Manifesting Magic the Practical Way, because there's a very practical way of manifesting. There very much so is. And on this channel, I just like to discuss all things related to fine-tuning ourselves to get to the best version of ourselves so that we can attract and achieve those things that will truly delight us and make us happy in this lifetime, right? Today I'm coming from my bedroom. Actually the light is pretty good in here, so I don't mind. Yeah, it's all good. Usually not in the bedroom, but my daughters. I'm gonna say, why am I in here? Oh, I don't want to wake them up. They're sleeping in late, and I'm gonna let them, right? Because it's Sunday. It's good. And I'm sure me talking is. I've been making videos since these girls were little. They don't even pay attention to me. You just go, oh, mommy's making a video, and they shut the door. So anyway, what I'm talking about today is something that's very, very important to me because when you're a person that has a lot of ego and you can be arrogant in times in different places and environments, you have to really work on this one, right? And so the name of this is getting on the other side of yucky feelings, right? Um, a lot of times in society we have yucky feelings, and what people do most commonly is tell us you shouldn't feel that way, right? Say you're jealous of a friend getting a new car, and you're like, oh, I don't know why I feel jealous. I didn't even know why. I didn't even know I had jealousy in me. This is so frustrating. And then you're around people and nobody's going to let you feel that jealousy. They're going to shame you for it for the most part. Oh no, you should be lifting people up. You should be making them feel like this. You could be making them feel like that. Right. And so we're not in a society as a whole in a position to where we commonly let people feel yucky feelings. Right. So the fact that there's denial of these yucky feelings like jealousy or envy or hatred or bitterness or anger, the fact that these things are not acceptable in most social circles and environments, and they make everybody so uncomfortable if you say it out loud, unless you're saying it in a cheeky way, like a joking, but you're not really joking, right? Kind of way that kind of stops us from being able to get on the other side of those feelings because we're told that they just shouldn't be there at all. So it's like going to a stop sign at the end of a road. And you're so concerned with the fact that the stop sign shouldn't be there that you just sit there. You just sit there instead of instead of realizing that it's just a stop sign. It is there, and the only way for this stop sign not to mean anything is for me to move past it, and then you go, right? And that's what we have to get across. I remember my daughter, and this is another story. It's a good story. It just popped in my head. So that means it must be for this video. And I won't say which one, right? I never was in the business of exploiting my children online. I wouldn't call it exploiting. I just don't want them to have a life online that they didn't have any control over before they're old enough to have control over their own lives. So I don't really put them out there. But she was telling me her sister's birthday comes before hers every year, like a month, right? They're only 23 months apart. And her sister's birthday comes a month before hers every year, right? So we usually, they both, when they were under 10, they both got birthday parties every single year. Every year I was doing a theme, cakes, children, a lot of other people's children, sleepovers, pool parties, painting with a twist parties, skate parties, bowling parties. I mean, you name it. We did some parties. And one of my sisters told me one day, girl, stop having all those parties. She said, have them when they're 13, when they're 16, and then they're 18. And I was like, you are absolutely right. Why am I still having parties for these children for all this little 11 and 12 and all this kind of stuff? So we cut that out. But nonetheless, she would get these gifts every year. And one day she came in after her sister had her party and all that. And she says, I have a very, and that's why I call them yucky feelings. That was her exact words. I have a very yucky feeling on the inside, right? And she had to be about eight or 7. And I was like, yucky? What is it? What's a yucky feeling? I thought it was her stomach or something hurting. And she was just like, I feel really bad about my sister getting all those gifts for her birthday. And I was like, well, what do you feel bad about? She was like, because they're not mine. And I wanted all those gifts to be for me. And it was such a sweet, innocent moment of jealousy of a sibling or envy of a sibling. And I think about the so many instances where a kid would say that kind of stuff and they would be browbeaten for just having the negative feeling on the inside of them. But easily, she felt so comfortable with sharing that she came and said, it's a yucky feeling. I was like, oh, pumpkin, that's called jealousy and envy. I was like, it's okay. People have it all the time. I said, you're not going to stay with it, but I'm so happy that you're honest about it, right? Ever since then, that whole birthday before her thing has never been an issue for the fact that she doesn't like. For 1 month, they only seem like they're 1 year apart. So one of them is 13 next week, and then the next one is 14 for another month. And she's like, I don't like this. So I'm like, I got a 13 and a 14. She's like, no, we're not. We're 2 years apart. And I'm like, not quite. But I mean, as far as the gifts and all that kind of stuff, because they get equal, they get what they get. But she was so clear about what she was feeling. And I think about all of the instances. And so what I told her was, it's okay to feel like that. I'm like, do you feel like that because you don't think you're going to get it? Or you feel like that because hers is first? Or you just feel like that because today, and you might struggle with seeing her have all this fun stuff on this day, and maybe tomorrow you won't. It's so many reasons behind it. But what's so important is that you understand you, and that you're vulnerable enough to see those feelings for what they are, and to not allow those feelings to be who you are. Because when we deny that kind of stuff, we're it's like when we deny, like say if she denied that she was feeling jealous, she's like, oh, I'm okay. Oh, that's great. I'm so happy for you, sister. Like that, I'm happy you. But on the inside, this jealousy seed that was planted, it's still just growing and growing and growing, and it's being ignored. And it's not, and it's also being watered by more and more events, more and more instances, because if you don't clean it out, the next year you're going to feel the same way. Every time that birthday comes up, you're going to feel the same way when they get something and you don't. It's just going to keep on happening. So the fact that you can be honest with these things and be like, man, that really made me feel like this. Or when somebody hurts your feelings and be like, oh, I'm not going to pretend that didn't hurt my feelings. When you said that, that really hit me the wrong way. I mean, this happens especially in new relationships, especially like I've been in one. I didn't even realize how much I didn't like that type of, what is it? We call it New Orleans. We call it New Orleans joking, but I'm just because we're from there. It's like that real cutthroat way of picking on people, right? Like if they had on dirty shoes, people went in. You couldn't show up at school without certain things without, and I knew better. I didn't even care about the latest tennis shoes and clothes and all that kind of stuff. But I refused to walk around with a dirty pair of Air Max and all. I even got after school jobs to make sure I had perfect and I don't even dress like that anymore. It's not even remotely who I was or who I am. But at the time, it was a very common way of, you had to be together to not be attacked, right? And I'm just like, I'm not going to be together all the time. And I'm good with that, right? But I didn't realize how much I hated that type of picking on people because I left away from environments like that feeling insecure about things that I love about myself today, right? Feeling insecure about having a nose with character or feeling insecure about having a slimmer body, that wasn't big time curvaceous and all that, or feeling insecure about having big feet, right? I mean, well, size 10 is big foot for a woman, not that big, but it's super common these days. So I walked away with these things because people would pick and tease. And I was like, I don't like that. And he was doing it with me a little bit and I was doing it a little bit. I'm like, this feels very toxic. I don't like this. And so I made sure I didn't raise my daughters in anything like that because I didn't want them walking around having to build themselves up from some lack of self-esteem they developed on the other end. And so I was just real honest. I'm like, that really hurt my feelings. I don't feel like being hard. I don't feel like acting like I'm Teflon. I just don't want to be, I don't want to do that. I'm good with that. I don't want to get better with that. Right. So when you get to the other side of those yucky feelings, it's like you can breathe again. Right. When you get to the other side of, I did feel competitive. I did feel hatred. I did feel bitterness. I was angry at them. And you can be honest with yourself about it and get to the place where it's no longer the other people's fault. Then you can clean out the yucky feelings, right? Because if you're still on a place of self-righteousness and blaming everything on someone else, even if they were wrong, then you're not able to get in a space of your yucky feelings and your cleaning up and the better that you want for yourself, right? And so I think we should be more honest about what those feelings are. And when people share them and they have them in our space and they say these things and be like, you know what? That's a yucky feeling I don't like. I don't want it to be a part of my life and my existence. And I'm going to do whatever I have to do to work on it. And I'm going to feel the shame of looking in other people's eyes and knowing that I felt these things. And I'm going to stand up straight and tall and put my head up and say, yes, I was jealous of this of you. Yes, I hate it when you did this. Yes, I felt small and insecure when you did this. But guess what? It was all me, and it's all good, right? So just keep that in mind. When you get to the other side of those yucky feelings, life gets better and better, easier and easier, and you get lighter and lighter. Have a wonderful day.